Hello, good people. It is AMB coming back with another commentation. And today's topic will be very interesting because I will be crossing murky waters to help you to break the shackles on your mind. The very things that help me to realize that God is real and just how miraculous His creation actually is. Okay? So, the first thing that we're going to go into is the moon. Did you know that the moon hangs in the balance between Earth's atmosphere and the blackness of space? And this is a picture supposedly taken from the International Space Station. Okay? I've always been taught that the moon is in outer space, or it's much further away than what the truth actually is. So when you look up in the sky and you see this beautiful light, realize that it's within Earth's atmosphere. It's within the sky of the Earth. It is not above it. It is not separate away from it. Okay? And I'm going to show you a video, and I'll be right back on for my commentation. Yeah, so that was actually taken with a Nikon. I have also taken pictures of the moon. I have also done videos of the moon myself with a regular camera from my cell phone, and it's very much so true that it's right there. It's very close to us. It is not at all as far as they have made us think that it was. This is also very interesting to know that there is no distinction between space and not space, in part because Earth's atmosphere doesn't simply vanish. Rather, it gradually becomes thinner and thinner over about 600 miles. Technically, the International Space Station, which orbits at an average height of 240 miles, would not be in space if we define space as the absence of an atmosphere. So even the International Space Station is not in space. It's within the atmosphere, if you want to be technical. Moreover, it's more important to realize that they cannot distinct between space and not space. So for instance, me being inside of my house, my apartment, my car, whatever, inside of a building, I am inside of a space. But once I go outside, I'm technically in space. I'm within the atmosphere, right? So there you have it. Trust me, I'm going somewhere with this, so just stick with me, right? So let's look at the International Space Station. This is in no order. So like I said, just bear with me as I find these articles that are scattered abroad here. All right, so it says, can you see the International Space Station from Earth's surface? At dawn or dusk, you'll be able to see the space station with your bare eyes as the third brightest object in the sky. It will also be moving across the sky similar to an airplane, but without flashing lights, okay? So it's very low orbiting. It's lower than the moon itself, right? So even though the moon is within Earth's atmosphere, which is not technically space, neither is the International Space Station. It is orbiting much lower. So then it begs the question of what is orbiting, right? It's something that's going around and moving abroad. But the orbit can only be in a motion in which the space allows. And as we can see, we can see that space itself is very vast, as well as the Earth, right? So there is no telling. And it also begs the question of, so is the Earth much smaller if they're able to orbit, right? Or just the true size and nature of what Earth actually is, right? So this is just something that I screenshot because you can also do your own research. Surprise, the moon doesn't just have an atmosphere, but a tail too, whatever. Earth's atmosphere actually extends far beyond the moon. So this is not a speculation. This is not a conspiracy. This is actual facts, right? This is actual facts. So the next thing that we're going to get into is about the planets in the sky, right? So I'm pretty sure a lot of us have heard about Genesis and Ezekiel talking about the firmament, and it says, look, and I Then I looked, and behold, in the firmament that was above the sky of the cherubims, there appeared over them, as it were, a sapphire stone, as the appearance of the likeness of a throne. Genesis chapter 1, verse 8. And God called the firmament heaven, and the evening and the morning were the second day. Right? Ezekiel verse 1. And the likeness of the firmament upon the heads of the living creature was as the color of a terrible crystal, stretched forth over their heads above. So essentially, it's like a tent. There's a separation. There's also etymology of words, which means that before the word firmament existed, it meant something else. And one of those things is expanse, right? So it says, then God said, let there be an expanse in the midst of the waters, and let it separate the waters from the waters. God made the expanse and separated the waters which were below the expanse from the waters which were above the expanse, and it was so. God called the expanse heaven. So God called the expanse heaven. So what we call today the firmament, what they called back then the expanse, is what God called heaven. And there was evening and there was morning, a second day. Okay. Then God said, let there be light in the expanse. Okay. So within the expanse, which is heaven, there's light to separate the day from the night. And let them be signs and for seasons and for days and years, and let them be for lights in the expanse of the heavens to give light on the earth. And it was so. God made the two great lights, the greater light to govern the day and the lesser light to govern the night. He made the stars also. So keep all of this in mind, because one thing that we have all been told is about the Big Bang, right? And it says the Big Bang is how astronomers explain the way the universe began. It is the idea that the universe began as just a single point, and expanded and stretched to grow as large as it is right now, and it's still expanding. So outside of our own personal beliefs, I have grown up Christian my whole entire life. There are some that have grown up Muslim and so forth, or with no denomination whatsoever. But in essence, it's a terrible thing to actually realize that as you went to school, elementary, middle, and high school, especially in elementary, they drill it into you. They give you globes. They show you what the world is, how it came to be. They talk about Darwinism. But in all actuality, it's just an idea. This is something that we will never know, right? Our minds can't comprehend it. We don't have the verbiage to describe it. And honestly, even with all the technology that they have, you will never be able to see it, because it is something that is miraculous. It's something beyond the conceptual wide. It's something that is supernatural. It is the spiritual realm itself. It is God's existence, okay? It's his promise to us. But yet they're telling us that no, it's a big bang, like we're just here, instead of the realization that God has created you in his own image and just how special you actually are. So all of this, and this is not a speculation thing, but if you think about why they're telling us this versus what actually is the truth, then you realize that they're keeping something away from us, okay? So we know about the International Space Station, that it's in the atmosphere as well, just as well as the moon, correct? So now, let's get into the fact that we, as people, NASA more specifically, has never left Earth's atmosphere, right? No human has ever left Earth's atmosphere. Here's why. New observations of our atmosphere calculate that it extends far beyond what we thought, encompassing the moon. This means that we've actually never left Earth's atmosphere. Here's what else these observations can tell us, okay? You can also look up those articles. You can type in no human has ever left Earth's atmosphere. They'll give you other articles. Of course, you don't believe every single thing that's on Google, but you can also use common sense. You can also use your discernment and wisdom that will save you. But the number one thing that you can use is the Bible, because it has never lied. They have told you that they have lied, and they use Christianity as slavery, but it's not true. Before the Bible was written, the scripture was written in our heart. God talked to the Israelites way before he ever wrote the Bible. As a matter of fact, as the Bible pans out, the Bible was being written. So these people actually had a relationship with God just as we do, right? It's like my relationship began with God before I ever picked up a Bible and really read it to understand, right? So it says Apollo 8's first humans to leave Earth's orbit. This historical date is December 21st, 1968. The 3 crew members of Apollo 8 were the first humans to leave Earth's orbit and the first to travel around the moon, right? The December 21st, 1968 launch of Apollo 8 from Cape Kennedy, Florida was the beginning of a mission designed to test the Apollo system and gain the operational experience necessary to realize President Kennedy's goal of landing a man on the moon and returning him safely, right? So since we know that the moon is within Earth's atmosphere, they have never left Earth, right? They've never left. They've never left. Right? And it takes, you can look that up as well. It takes them, what they say is about 3 days, which I don't believe. You can't believe everything on Google. They say it takes 3 days to get to the moon. But if it's within Earth's atmosphere, it takes much less time than that. It's within Earth's atmosphere. So more recent research has shown that it takes minutes, maybe hours to get to the moon, right? We're not going but so far, right? It also says in a highlighted area as of July 20th, 2021, a total of 574 people from 41 countries have gone into space according to the FAI criterion. Of those 574, 3 people only reach a suborbital flight. 567 people reach Earth's orbit, 24 traveled below the low Earth orbit, and 12 walked on the moon. So they have not left the earth, which gives truth to the firmament, which gives truth to the expanse that God talked about himself, okay? Let there be an expanse in the midst of the waters, and let it separate the waters from the waters. God made the expanse and separated the waters which were below the expanse from the waters which were above the expanse. It's hard to even speculate, like, how could somebody know what God has said and done in the beginning if there was no man at that time? But what we must realize is that once you have that relationship with God, he does speak to you, right? It's not necessarily, and it could be for some people, but it's not necessarily an audible voice that you just hear out of nowhere pouring from the sky. It could be for some people. My relationship is different than yours. The way that we communicate is different. For some people it's dreams, for some people it's visions, some people are seers and so forth. But he uses us as a testimony. Our job here is to believe and know and have that faith and know that he is real, that he created everything, right? These people want to hold you away from the light and the true existence of God and how much you mean to him and where we actually are. So if you think that you're just a dot in the sky, you don't feel as important as God has made you to believe. The goal here is to send you to a place that you really don't want to go, right? Is to make you worship these planets, right? To idolize zodiac signs and astrology and associate with yourself with things other than the Most High, right? And it says in Deuteronomy, and when you look up to the sky and see the sun, the moon, and the stars, all the heavenly array, do not be enticed into bowing down to them and worshiping things the Lord your God has apportioned to all the nations under heaven. So you're not supposed to idolize the moon, the stars, the planets, or anything. It is a heavenly array, apportioned to all the nations under heaven. It is a sign of his miraculous and wonders. It is not a sign of where you came from. You did not come from a certain star system. You came from God himself. He created you. He created this whole entire creation, and he allowed you to experience and gives you day by day to repent, to realize, to come into knowledge and true knowing, because our people perish because of lack of knowledge, okay? So the more that they deceive you, the more they encrypt your mind with deception and manipulation and tell you, hey, this is what it is versus what it actually is. But the truth of the Bible says, it cripples us. It cripples us. They put pictures in front of our faces such as these. Right over here, it says Earth from space, NASA. Okay, so this is... And then you look up here in the corner and it says, not what it says, you see the moon. This is a lie. I mean, after we already know the moon is within our atmosphere. So this picture it's not true. And this is stuff that people still believe. And then you look right here, right? This is Etsy. This is something that somebody conceptualized. It's a picture somebody drew or whatever. They did graphics on it. So if you have the means and the creativity to draw the moon, the earth, or whatever planet, you can do that. Because this is exactly what NASA is doing. Okay? And we'll get into this. Conspiracy debunked. NASA photoshops images for good reason. They Photoshop whatever. Conspiracy theorists are abuzz over the revelation that a recent NASA photo was touched up before being released to the public. So it was touched up. But this is not news or evidence that the space agency has something to hide. NASA routinely processes raw images to enhance details or to visualize things the human eye could never see. Agency officials have said other space agencies and many astronomers do the same thing. So if they tell you to jump off the bridge, will you do it? Like, I don't want to hear about monkey see, monkey do. Another thing is, we have been bred to believe that whatever the government tells us, whatever officials say to us, that we have to believe because they would never lie. When the truth is, we know as we live and we experience, especially as adults and young adults and even children, we understand that people can lie to us. People can hide things from us. There is a such thing as propaganda. Media is inscribed to persuade us, right? So for those very reasons, the last thing that you want to do is to lie to people about where they are. It is so very important, not even where they are, because we know where we are. You see around you, but what's in the sky? As a matter of fact, a lot of us wouldn't even have speculated as far as we have if it not be for NASA and them putting these images in front of our face and saying, hey, this is what it is, right? For me, it has taken me away from God when I believed in this stuff, because I then started to go into the galaxy and the stars and wanted to know about other universes and plan to travel to different places if it was ever allowed. And the thing is that it's something that will never be, because it was created as an expansiveness, as a sign of God's miraculous wonders. It is also a realm of heaven. So there is no way that you can just exist within those cosmos, because it was not created for that. It was not created for the zodiac signs. It was not created for the Greek gods that they're named after, right? And that's also a sign of how demonic it actually is. It's demonic. We're not here to idolize these things. One thing to take note of is that this was taken from the Hubble Space Telescope. The Hubble Space Telescope can take pictures of up to 30 billion light years away, which is an astronomical amount of time and space. So they say, right? It's hard to believe these things when we don't have access to it, and we never will, right? But it says that this nebula that is in the picture is 3,000 light years away, right? So let's just see, how long would it take a human to travel 1 light year, right? So at the speed of 5 miles a second, can you imagine going 5 miles a second? First of all, our flesh couldn't even take it, but it would take us about 37,200 years to go 1 light year, right? So this thing can get there. I don't even know how long it took them to take this picture. Does not make sense, right? Just keep that in mind, because I've also screenshotted some photos, and this is from the ISS, which we know is an Earth, right? So this thing is like, come on. So I guess they built it with a camera facing down so that they can continue to take pictures of the Earth, right? So this is from the International Space Station. So is this. This looks like Mars to me, but okay. Talking about this Morocco, Paris, Alaska. I mean, these pictures are clearly, it's not real. These are conceptualized photos. And it even says in this one, this false color satellite image, a method used in rendering for better reading of data. What data are you trying? It's stupid. Like, the scientists, it's just like any other entrepreneur. They're creating business for themselves. Like, they have to advertise and market to people to keep it profitable. Half of our money, most of our money in taxes goes to stuff like this. And this is not something that we've asked for. If anything, I want to see a real picture of Earth, right? But they don't want to show you the real picture of Earth, because then you'll realize who you are, that God is real. I'm trying to tell you, the moment that we see something like that, we know that God is real. So if the Hubble Space Telescope can take pictures up to 30 billion light years away, then why have they never taken a picture of Earth? It's either one, they can't, or number two, because of what it actually looks like. I don't get into the whole flat Earth thing, right? Most people don't understand it. I don't expect you to. But that's one conspiracy theory, that if you actually reach the other side of your mind and realize that the Earth is not the shape that they told you, then of course you will realize that God is real. I'm trying to tell you, right? I'm only sharing this with you because I'm trying to help you break the spells on your mind, to unlift the veil. Because once I realize these things, and it's not to ascribe, and that's another thing, the word conspiracy divides people. This is not something to make you believe something else, but just to be open to the fact that what they have told you for so many years is simply not true. Okay? Now, it also says in Corinthians, I know a man in Christ who 14 years ago was caught up to the third heaven, whether in the body or out of the body, I do not know. God knows. I'm showing this as evidence to the fact that there is a third heaven, as what New Age is called dimensions, right? You have dimensions of heaven. So that means if there's a third heaven, then there's a second heaven, and there's a first heaven. When you look up in the sky, you're looking at the first heaven, the beautiful clouds, the blue sky, when it gets dark outside and you get to see some of the stars or whatever. Then you have the second heaven, which is the cosmos, okay? And the third heaven, which is the kingdom of God. And you also have some things that are underneath of us that we don't want to go to, right? It's just not something that you want to go to. It's something that we want to stay away from. But I'm just helping you to realize to not believe everything that you're told. I'm sure a lot of people know this, but the ancient Greeks called them by their Greek gods, unsurprisingly, and that them is the planets. Jupiter was Zeus, Mercury was Hermes, and Venus was Aphrodite. The ancient Babylonians also named the planets after their deities. Roman mythology is to thank for the monikers of most of the 8 planets in the solar system. The Romans bestowed the names of gods and goddesses on the 5 planets that could be seen in the night sky with the naked eye. Jupiter, the solar system's biggest planet, was named for the king of the Roman gods, which is Zeus, while its reddish color of the planet Mars led the Romans to name it after their god of war. Mercury, which makes a complete trip around the sun in just 88 Earth days, is named after the fast-moving messenger of the gods. Saturn, the solar system's second largest planet, takes 29 Earth years to make a full revolution of the sun and is named for the god of agriculture. The Romans named the brightest planet Venus for their goddess of love and beauty. So they have idolized planets. Of course, going back into astrology and the zodiac, I've already covered that. But to realize that with association to it, the more you subscribe to these things, the more you idolize it, which is what they want. So they looked up in the sky, they loved what they saw, and they named their gods after planets, what they consider planets. But please remember, when you look up to the sky and see the sun, the moon, and the stars, all the heavenly array, do not be enticed into bowing down to them and worshiping things the Lord your God has apportioned to all the nations under heaven. Okay? So I took the liberty of screen shooting actual photos of Saturn. I've been looking up this stuff for years, right? So you can also look that up on different sites as well to see people who have these telescopes, because to buy a good telescope, man, you're going to spend some money, like some real good money. So when I get real good money, maybe I'll buy one, but maybe I won't, right? This is an actual picture of what Saturn looks like. It's not something that you can physically like describe with words. I'm just going to be honest, even from looking at this picture, like I remember one time that I saw it because we have a telescope at the inner harbor, and there's some people that make money off of that, you know, so they know when you can see the moon and stuff like that. So they'll bring their telescope and charge people $1 or so, and you can look through the telescope and see it. So when I saw it, it looks like a cartoon in the sky. Like there is no way that you can describe something that you can't describe. Like, have you ever seen a cartoon on TV? Well, imagine seeing something like that in the sky. There is no way that the Big Bang made that, right? And it goes to show you that we were created and all of this was created. I didn't create myself. I didn't create the trees. I didn't create any of it. You feel me? I have creations within this earth, but the stability, the foundation of it was already there before us. Like, look at this. And you think that you can go there. Okay. And this is Jupiter. I have no words. Like I said, it's the second heaven. If you know about the second heaven, then you know that that's where the spiritual warfare is taking place. So there's no telling, you know, and we are in the physical realm. So our eyes cannot see this stuff. That's just it. This is why, some people do mushrooms and stuff like that, and you get all spiritual. You do see a little bit more. Or, number one, you get connected to God, and He'll show you what you want to know, what you're ready for, right? But it's still not something that you can conceptualize with words. Now, this won't be a good photo, but this is a photo that I have taken. Like I said, it's pretty bad because I took it with my cell phone. But this blob right here is a picture of a star, right? So it was actually moving, and I couldn't find the video of it, but it was moving. It was like a nebula. It was a living, breathing organism. At least that's what it looks like. And, if you've read the book of Enoch, then you understand like what a chariot is, right? And how like it's like a circle within a circle. It's like a wheel, So some stars look like that because there are no two stars that look the same. It's just like us, right? It's just like us. Even though some people may be twins or whatever, they're not the same people. So this is like a better picture. This is not my picture though, but this is a great picture of what I have seen the stars look like in the sky. These things are miraculous. These things are undescribable. There are also Bible verses that talk about you can't see them. You can't see them with your naked eye, right? And this is also another. This is beautiful. This is a star. I've seen stars that look like this in the sky from binoculars and so forth. It's beautiful. That's just the best way to describe it. It's not what they tell you. It's not 5-pointed like they show you. It's not the Star of David. You feel me? It's God's creation. So I can't play these videos. Please look at the titles. Take a screenshot of it so that you can watch them yourself. But this, not this one. Sorry. This is supposedly Elon Musk. His drone actually departing from the International Space Station into space. And the reason why I'm showing this is because when I first seen this, it changed something in me. Like I said, I went through my process of believing everything I was told until I could actually see it with my eyes open, having discernment before I knew what discernment was and not believing the lies, right? I mean, even when you turn on Disney or Paramount or whatever, there's always this introduction with like the sky, the atmosphere, the universe, right? And they're showing you and putting it into your mind what it actually looks like because they want to brainwash you. But look at this, man. It's like they said that the sun was actually rising when this took place. So this is why you see what I'm guessing is Earth below it glowing like this. But my question would be, if they say that the sun is as big as they say it is, then how can they possibly be doing this? You shouldn't be able to see anything because the sun is supposed to be shining super bright. But it looks as if the sun is within Earth's atmosphere. We can talk about that another time. That's even saying if this is true. Some people think that they're like inside of a studio, right? So I'm trying to give these people the benefit of the doubt here. I'm trying my best. I promise you I am. But to see the vastness of it, to see how black it is out there, there are no stars that you can see. You don't even see the sun, right? And they're just out there winging it. Sorry, I couldn't show more of it. But like I said, you can look it up yourself. To see, this ticks me off. Like, what is this right here? Where are they going? Why are they doing this? What are they trying to do? And a lot of people speculate that they're trying to break the firmament, right? They're trying to go beyond, but you can't go beyond. Like it's crazy. Look at this. It's nothing there. Of course, there's something there, but it's not something that you can see. It literally goes back to this. NASA routinely processes raw images to enhance details or to visualize things the human eye could never see. Talking about the human eye could never see because it's not there. And if it is there, it's in the spiritual realm. So you will never be able to see that. You would never be able to see that. Or the mockery of this. Elon Musk launches a car into space. This is stupid. Like they want to sit up there and play games, and like I said, I can't play the video because the volume is just too distorted. I don't want to ruin your ears with this. But they're playing like music, like some techno music. You got this. It's not a person in the car. It's supposed to be like, like a stunt dummy or whatever. But this is stupid to me. This is dumb. It's throwing it in your face. I mean, it says on the dashboard, don't panic. Like, for what, bro? I don't play about things like this. Like, if this is supposed to be where we are, you have all it. Look at this. It's not real. I'm not going to sit up there and believe that. You're not going to convince me that that's real. You're just not. And then this one is a very popular video. Like I said, I would screenshot these just to be able to actually watch it with the volume and everything. But this is a rocket that was launched, right? And as it starts, it starts by going up, and it seems to be going up because we're not stupid, but we tell ourselves these things like, no, it's what up is down and what's down is up. So we can see it going down. And what I just said will make a lot of sense. Because as you continue to look at this, it does not continue to go straight up. It begins to curve. It could be an indication of the curvature. It could also be an indication of the expanse of Earth and just the limitations that we have. I'm trying to figure out why they're trying to leave. Where you going? Once you get to Mars, what are you going to do? They talk about like how the atmosphere on other planets is uninhabitable. We can't live there. There is no oxygen. So where y'all trying to go? It's even said that space is like a vacuum. So what is going on? What's going on? So as you can see at this point, it's curving to the side. It's not going straight up. There's nothing that has ever just went straight up into the sky. A lot of people talk about this video because once it actually gets to a certain point, they say it's getting closer to the sun. Okay. But really what it looks like is that it's going through some water, or it's trying to break the firmament. I don't know if it's true or not. But yeah, something does look a little off with this. I'm just going to be honest. Be honest with yourself. Something doesn't look right. Just bear with the video. Look at that. And then it go back. Dummy. I'm from Baltimore, so we use that term dummy. It's like a term of endearment, actually, so excuse me. Hmm. Mm-mm. Like I said, I'm just sharing this to help you all, to help myself, even to remember how special we are. They're hiding a lot from us. Some things that they know, some things they just don't know. It could be that they don't know at all, so they're just going to make up something. But it's also very much so possible that they got further up to know, to realize that it's quite beautiful up there. And to see it, then you would know just how special you really are. So I'm almost finished with this. I wanted to top it off with this photo. This is like a speculation of what it could possibly look like. Can you imagine seeing a photo from NASA, right? They get up there. It's not the picture that they show us, right? Which is this. It looks nothing like that, but it looks more like this. We would know. We would instinctively know how miraculous it is to be here. I mean, this is beautiful. They can never take photos of this. They have no idea what it actually looks like. So I want people to stop believing that, you know? And also, this is from TikTok. I don't know why NASA would be going live on TikTok like it's a game. But in reference to the photo that I just showed you, if you were to put your phone to the side, it does look like that. It's beautiful. Some people think that they're like in a studio somewhere. Like I said, I'm trying to give them the benefit of the doubt. I could see it either way. But regardless, it's not what they told us. All right, so the last things that I want to show before I get out of here are in reference to Noah's Ark. This is also what led me to Christ. He was showing me things to let me know that he is real. So what I just showed you was one major thing that took months to really just decode and to understand. But I went on newspapers.com, looked up Noah's Ark and found some articles, even from far back as 1823, talking about the discovery of Noah's Ark. You can do your own research and look it up. They have free trials, so you don't have to pay any money for it initially, but you have to remember to unsubscribe after the 14 or 7 days, whatever. I'm not going to read all of this, but just to give you a summary, it says Nicholas of Damascus informs us more explicitly that above the province of Minyas in Armenia, there is a certain stupendous mountain named Baris, to which it is reported that many flying at the time of the deluge by the means escaped, and that a man was borne on an ark to the summit of the mountains, and some fragments of the materials of which the ark was composed remain to this day. He adds, this probably is the man alluded to by Moses, okay? Please do your own research. Don't listen to my words. But if you believe in the Bible, then you know it's true. The preservation of the ark for so many years, now withstanding the strong, corroborating testimony, is wholly incredible, without adverting to the perpetual snow which covers the summit of Ararat. But the united opinions of so many writers conclusively show that Armenia is the country where Noah descended, and the conclusion can suffer no alteration. Whether general belief entertained by pagan writers cannot diminish in importance, although it should be mixed up with fabulous account. In modern times, we have the example of a Dutch traveler named Cyrus, who affirms that he traveled 25 miles upon Mount Ararat to see a Romish hermit, that after having passed through the 3 regions of clouds, first dark and thick, the next full of snow, and the third colder and still, he arrived at the cell of a hermit, which he's talking about the boat, when he breathed the very serene and temporal air, that the recluse told him he had lived there 25 years and never perceived either wind or rain, that at the top of the mountain there still reigned a greater tranquility, whereby the ark was reserved, and that he received from the hands of the Holy Father a cross made of the wood of the ark. Most people don't want to believe that there is a God because they think about this person, right? When God is spirit, it says that in John, God is spirit who moved upon the face of the earth, right? Who crafted man in his own image, right? They don't want to believe that they were created by something. Most people want to believe in the Big Bang, that they were created from nothing. It just completely diminishes how important you are, which is why I'm sharing this with you. So you're more than welcome, like I said, to check out my resources. Go to newspapers.com. And if you find some other ones, share them. Share them in the comments. Share your questions, your concerns, whatever. Right? This is also another article to support that. I even found some documentation on newspapers.com that shows like Noah's descendants, which are his sons, and some land that they own, because Noah lived a very long time, right? And when you really think about it, they make it seem as if, like 1900 was a long time ago. I was born in 1991. So if you take 91 years away from that, that's 1900. I have family members who were born in like 1913, 1925 or so. And I've done my genealogy. I have family members from the 1800s. So that means that I have family from the 1700s, like my mother, which is a generation above me. She talks about, my great, great, great aunts or whatever that were born in the late 1800s, right? And you start to realize that time is not as far apart as we make it seem. Now we have clocks, we have years to separate us and stuff like that. But if you keep going back, so now we're at 1700, then you get into the 16 to 15 to 1400s, and you realize that we are still yet at the beginning. This is not, it's not as far as you think. It's really not. The history is still there. This is why they can find relics of old nations, This is how they can still find the hieroglyphs and just remnants of past civilizations that were here, because it didn't exist but so long ago, right? Yeah. So last thing I'm just going to show, like I said, I can't play it because of the volume, but this is a great documentary on the real Noah's Ark, right? And of course, you have people who do believe it. You have people who do not believe it, right? But in essence, it is up to you. Don't go into it just with your eyes, right? Just with your thoughts. You go into it with feeling. Go into it with your inner knowing, right? And if it resonates with you, then do some more research. And sometimes just let things be. You got to stop doing research at some point and just realize that, hey, this is what it is, right? Whether it is for you or it is not, right? Realize that some questions can be answered through just not thinking about it at all. God will reveal it to you in due time when you are ready. But if you're not ready for it, you're not going to believe it anyway. You're not going to resonate with this video anyway, right? Just imagine finding a boat the size that it is, because God didn't play any games when he inscribed the Bible. I mean, he gave cubit, he gave feet by feet, he gave what he made these things out of, even the Ark of the Covenant. So to realize this huge boat was at the top of a mountain at one point in time, because of course it slid down through nature, through catastrophe, through avalanches and things like that. But how could a boat be at the top of a mountain? It did not fly, it floated. So anyway, thank you for tuning in. I know this one was pretty long. I'm very passionate about this, and not because I'm a flat earther, not because, I'm a religious person. It's because I am a truth seeker, right? And I only will speak true things. And if I spoke anything that is not true, I pray for forgiveness of it. But the thing is, I know that it is, because I'm speaking of this not for the clicks and the views and the likes, right? Not to go viral. It's because I want to make more people aware. I want others to have salvation as well. And the only way to get that is through truth. It's through breaking the shackles on your mind. Once again, because our people perish because of lack of knowledge. And if you keep believing the things that the government is telling you, right? Because to me, the government, the theys that I'm talking about, is really the devil, right? It's really the devil. He doesn't want you to know how beautiful you are. He doesn't want you to know how important you are. He doesn't want you to know where you really are. So they create these governments, right? And these people are possessed, right? They're sent here to live out the agendas of the negative, and they serve you these lies on a platter. And for a lot of us, we fall for them. So you need people like myself. You need yourself. You need God. Rely not on self, but rely on him to find your truth. Please stay prayed up. And thank you for tuning in, my people. Peace out.